What is something that you want people to know about Portugal?
Well, people think it's a cheap country. Not for the Portuguese.
O futuro de Portugal não são os estrangeiros que vêm para cá morar, os nómadas digitais que vêm para aqui ocupar casarões porque fazem imenso dinheiro lá fora. O futuro de Portugal é os jovens.
My name is Diana Tavares. I am 31 years old. I live in Almada and I work in Lisbon.
O meu nome é Beatriz e tenho 24 anos. Atualmente sou consultora de marketing digital para a empresa Páginas Amarelas.
Welcome to Portugal, where the warmth of the weather is only matched by that of its people. Over the last 10 years, tourists from all over the world have woken up to its beauty, quickly turning the country into one of the most popular travelling destinations in the EU. In 2022, the tourism sector accounted for over 15% of the country's GDP, but not without consequences. By then, a third of Lisbon's historical centre was taken up by Airbnbs and short-term rentals, so as tourism was booming, house prices were soaring.
I got out of college at 21, 22 with this idea, okay, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna get what I need to get my first house loan, my first house. As I, meet someone, get married, I'll go to a bigger house. That did not happen. I live with my brother, older brother, he's 39.
Obviamente que sair de casa dos meus pais não foi fácil, ainda foram muitos anos a ter que fazer muitos sacrifícios. Eu saí muito jovem, então eu saí numa fase em que aquilo que eu queria era curtir a vida, mas ao mesmo tempo tinha contas para pagar. Eu acho que é impensável viver num quarto e sentir que tenho dificuldades financeiras. Num quarto. Quer dizer, qual é que é a perspectiva dos jovens em Portugal de terem qualquer tipo de futuro? Quer dizer, eu literalmente não consigo olhar para a frente e pensar, vou comprar uma casa, e isto e aquilo. Eu não consigo ver isso a acontecer porque cada dia que passa parece que se torna cada vez mais intocável esse sonho.
The plight can be traced back to 2008 financial crisis, when Portugal put tourism and foreign investment at the cornerstone of its economic recovery. Soon after, the country launched what's known as the Golden Visa Programme, providing non-EU citizens with residency permits and access to the Schengen area in exchange for real estate purchases worth €500,000 or more. From 2012 to 2022, the programme raised over €6 billion, 90% of which through real estate investment. The government also promoted a 10-year income tax exemption for foreigners living part-time in the country. These measures were credited for Portugal's economic recovery, but experts argue the market is now completely turned to foreign purchasing power. Both sales and rent prices today are entirely decontextualized of Portuguese income, causing immense collateral damage to the social fabric of its largest urban areas, especially Lisbon, Porto, and the southern Algarve region.
As rendas dos quartos. Então, eu não moro aqui sequer há 2 anos e a minha renda já aumentou 2 vezes. Acredito que vai aumentar mais. Se for o caso, eu até diria que tinha que procurar outra alternativa, mas não há alternativa. Eu sinto que nem é tema de conversa ir morar com o meu namorado. Até terminar o doutoramento não há qualquer tipo de esperança ou de perspectiva de irmos morar juntos.
The housing crisis got to numbers so high that everyone is struggling, no matter what type of contract they have. I live in my family house, owned and paid for by my parents. It's the house where I grew up since I was 4. It's a very weird sensation of you're no longer a teenager, but you're not a full-time adult. You pay the taxes like an adult, but you still have to ask permission to your father, who you can come inside your house to visit you.
Since 2010, housing prices in Portugal rose over 60%, well above the EU average of 45%. A one-bedroom apartment in Lisbon now goes for over €850, just about the same as the country's minimum wage of €880. This caused a mass exodus of Lisboetas towards the suburbs, putting a strain on the old public transport system, so the daily commute to the city can take up to 4 hours, and yet the prices have risen there too.
So when I got out, it was around 6:10. Let's see. Oh, 6:10 to 7:30. That was my commute time.
Diana's situation is a widespread one. On average, Portuguese people leave their parents' home at the age of 34. If not dependent on their elders, the unlivable conditions are pushing Portugal's youngest generation outside of the country. Every year, almost 40% of the nation's graduates leave in search of better living conditions.
O mais certo é acabar por ir embora do país porque não há condições, mesmo. E eu sinto que faço parte da classe média e não tenho uma casa. E não consigo sequer alugar um T0. É impensável.
I do feel a sense of pride in my country when I have to show them to other people, but at the same time, I realize that we have to change a little bit in our more negatives if you want this country to get better. I feel the frustration of maybe I will never see the day when we do, and I might have to leave before that happens.
Isso chateia-me porque eu quero continuar a viver cá, ou gostava de continuar a viver cá, tenho cá a minha família, tenho cá os meus maninhos, tenho cá os meus amigos e se calhar vou ter que abdicar disso tudo porque não há perspectivas de futuro cá em Portugal.
If the situation does not improve economically for me, if there is an opportunity, I will go. Because sometimes I feel that I gave a second chance to Portugal and I did not get rewarded for that.
The crisis is so severe that housing rights organisations are promoting a referendum to defend the right to housing guaranteed by the Portuguese constitution. On 2 occasions, tens of thousands of people took to the streets across the country, so the government was pressured on putting an end to the Golden Visa programme in April 2023. Besides that, in ensuring the start of new social housing projects, the government's measures don't touch the main driver of the crisis, foreign investment.
The housing crisis is definitely the biggest challenge because it affects everything else. It really affects all the other branches of Portuguese society right now. It affects where you work, it affects what you spend, it affects how you live, it affects what time you have for interpersonal relationships, it affects mental health en masse, it affects your health because where you live it determines what your hospital is.
Para as pessoas que pensam em vir para cá, que saibam quando estão a olhar para um português, estão a olhar para um lutador. Mesmo, estão a olhar para uma pessoa que se calhar não sabe se vai conseguir encher a despensa na última semana do mês, uma pessoa que não sabe se vai conseguir ligar o aquecedor no próximo inverno porque as taxas da eletricidade estão a aumentar cada vez mais.
We really need to fix this first and as soon as possible in a way that Portuguese people can afford it. I don't care if it's a left-wing measure, if it's a right-wing measure, just fix it. I don't care if it's pro-market, anti-market, left, right, fix it. Just fix it. I don't care which investors are going to be deterred from putting their money into the country. I don't care who we need to piss off. The Portuguese need housing.